at Lakeside Dairy, Legal, Alberta. It's a third generation dairy farm, grain farm, and seed potato. The kids love being out on the farm. They love having the open space and the animals all around them. I guess Jeff is an individual who always knew he was going to be farming. I knew I was going to take over the farm before I could run most of the equipment. It's just an instinct. It's in your blood. Well, it was always a dairy farm. It's always been a stable type of an industry for as long as I can remember. And when you go back as far as we're talking with my grandfather, everybody had dairy cows. Farming really hasn't changed in 2,000 years. There's people growing food to supply other people, and the trend has always been that there's less farmers producing more. Eventually, you turn out with a farm this size at 170 cows and shipping 12,000 liters of milk every 2 days. So milking 170 cows, there's over 400 animals on the farm that also need attention, and certain routine things to make sure bedding's in place, feed's in place, animal health is checked, and take care of getting some milk prepared to feed the calves. And all the equipment's in top order because somebody's on call all night long. We just reinvested and have a new barn and took into account all the animal comfort space and making sure that the cows are happy and can perform optimally out there. So it starts to build. And then you decide efficiencies. There's certainly bigger farms, but for us this is a comfortable level to be at, and it ties in with all the other things we do. On our farm, we've recently transitioned from a parlor system where you're milking cows twice a day to a robotic system where the animals are voluntarily milked. The automatic milking system, and in the particular brand that we went with, they call it a voluntary milking system. So the cows come as they choose for the most part, and once they enter the machine, all the information stored in the computer comes into play. As you know, how much are they producing? The robot identifies the cow and starts the process. So it'll grab a wash cup and attach it to the udder. One at a time, it'll make sure that they're cleaned and prepared. It stimulates the cow to let the milk down. Because it's measured with automation, every quarter is measured individually. So if the flow is there, then that quarter is being milked. When the flow stops, that quarter is removed. And it goes on a quarter by quarter basis, so there's no extra stress on the cow with the machine hanging on when she's done. All the milk goes through a device on our robots that measures the color, the conductivity, temperature, and all these quality factors, and it keeps a log of them. So if anything changes, and more importantly, if more than one thing changes, then it can start to alert us that there may be something going on with the cow that needs to be addressed. So the cows are happy, and generally we are as well. Sanitation, it's probably the most important thing in the system when you're dealing with food is sanitation. So there's a schedule. The robots are washed twice a day, and then if there's any cows that come through that the milk is discarded for any reason, those machines are washed out before the next cow comes in. Every tank load of milk that leaves this farm is tested for quality, and I can see the results within one working day. Milk is generally by nature locally produced. It's a perishable product. You can't really ship it all that far successfully. There's just a lot of environmental reasons and a lot of quality reasons to get it into a processing plant and on the shelf and keep everything as fresh and as convenient for the consumer as well. Environment is my favorite topic these days. I think there's a lot of things that farms can do, and on this farm we certainly try. We're utilizing manure fertilizer sources off of our farm, and we're able to take not just our waste from the farms, but also we divert last year 700 to 800 tons of drywall waste from the city of Edmonton. Drywall is gypsum. Gypsum is calcium sulfate. Calcium and sulfur are two nutrients that are not very abundant in the manure and very useful as a nutrient in the field. So it's a natural fit. The compost project is a unique opportunity for producers who have manure waste to make something more out of it, and it's economically very beneficial. I think that the agronomists agree that it's the Cadillac of fertilizers, and you're able to really build soil, and it takes time. That's the one thing about farming. Dairy's 24/7 every day. With livestock, we hire a nutritionist to help us balance the diet for the cows and make sure everything is optimum there. And likewise on the grain side, I have an agronomist who helps me make sure that the soil is as healthy as it can be. All the while you're dealing with environmental factors, how much rain, how much heat, how long this growing season is, and the technology. We have a fairly strong balance between the dairy and the amount of land that we farm, and then mixing the seed potatoes in is just a good spot to take advantage of some of the nutrients and byproduct of what comes out of the dairy side. Farmers generally have a high level of ingenuity, and we're going to face the future and keep feeding the world and adapt and address all of the challenges that come with it. There's a lot of pressures on farmers to be more than just farming, to market, to be environmental stewards. There's just a lot of pride in raising kids on the farm and wanting them to experience it and seeing if they have the instinct and the talent to want to take over and continue, and it's a great livelihood.
That's a true farmer's boy right there.
My entire career will be 50 crops. I get 50 opportunities to make a decision and make an adjustment and hopefully move in the right direction. At the end of the day, we still like to be in the dairy barn with the cows. We still like to be in the field growing the crops. We take a lot of pride in the quality and the fact that we are feeding people.